good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for tuning in. This has been, that's it really. This has been the show, and just want to say hello to everyone and off we fuck. Can you close the show, please? And we out of here.
Okay, now.
Yeah, so welcome everyone. There's over 350 of you in here. Of course, naturally, absolutely naturally. Welcome to a post-match show for Napoli 4, Liverpool 1. Yes, Napoli 4, Liverpool 1. Opening game of the Champions League. We will absolutely get into it. Deep breath, guys. I'm not going to ask how you guys are. I'm just going to welcome you to the show, obviously. Conroy, Sam, Errol. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming online. It ain't easy. It ain't easy after a shit show like that, performance like that. But I admire your honesty, integrity, professionalism. Call it what you want. Your bravery. Call it what you want. Thank you very much for joining me. People in the chat, over 450 of you. Please, if you could hit the like button, that would be just a bit of consolation for us, I guess. But first, before we go any further, as you know, we are now sponsored by yourfutcard.com. An amazing website that caters for all your needs in terms of custom-made cards. Here we go. Let's have a look at the website. They not only do custom-made cards like this young lady is holding up here. They also do banners, custom-made banners, flags. You can say FSG out, Darwin Núñez out on them. You can have Thierry Henry. You can have the famous Aguero goal. All clubs catered for. Amazing products. Brilliant website. So easy to use. So someone like me knows how to use it. Some of their best sellers up on there. You can have brilliant backgrounds, any design you want. As I said, custom-made flags as well. The whole works. And on top of everything else, if you type in RedFellas when you go to the checkout, you get 15% off as well. And if you're still confused and you're not sure how it works and everything, all you got to do is chat with them. Ask them, where's your order? Preview your design. How long will the order take? If you can't find something that you're looking for, ask away. Someone will be always there to help you. As I said, some brilliant stuff. Go check them out. It helps them. It helps us. And everyone's a winner, baby. Everyone's a winner, baby, except Liverpool, who are a bunch of losers right now. Conroy, I tweeted at halftime that fuck watershed games. This is a watershed 45 minutes.
Yep. I saw that. I saw a lot of tweets, to be honest. I had to go on Twitter to believe it had happened. It was a bit surreal, to be honest. I don't know. We usually quite obviously right after the game, emotions flowing, but I think our take on this game is probably going to be quite accurate even tomorrow when we wake up. People had time to think about it. Just think. I see a lot of comments there, and people have been saying it's the worst I've ever seen Liverpool. I would agree, but at the same time feel like I thought United were just as bad. We just played a team who could hurt us more in the game today, to be perfectly honest.
That's a good point. That's a good way of looking. One way of looking at it, I should say. Sorry.
Yeah, their attack, the much more cohesion in their attack with their pace, and they knew what they're doing, and they knew exactly where our weaknesses were. And if that's not apparent, that there's something has to be done. That was my take from the game. I just thought it was, just right up there. I still think United was just as bad, for horrendous that day as well. People have got short memories try to say that was terrible, scored a goal, terrible that day as well, and they're a worse team, United. I thought tonight was shocking. I think we played predictably FC, as people have been saying. Well, it's actually becoming a bit of a problem now, because it's all great having the plan to do it, but when people are exploiting that easy, then it's called adaptability. A lot of Pep Linder's comments about intensity. Why not just actually play decent football and try to actually work on your tactics that way, instead of just being open like the back door is just so easy to get in. Just like the space behind, I'll let the other guys talk, but I just thought it was, from the very first second, put that in perspective. They scored, was it, what, 6 minutes in? Before they scored, they'd hit the post and missed another chance just before that as well. It's, yeah, horrendous.
I know you said you want to let the other guys speak. From speaking with Errol, I'm not sure if he wants to speak. Just a few. He's got a few more seconds of execution while I read out a couple of super chats. Chi number 21 says, much love, Grizz. Thoughts on Potter to Chelsea? I'll be giving that afterwards, my friend. Not right now. Slightly busy, mate. One of those ones. Morty says, what a game. The 2 6s at the end there. Oh, wait, wrong show. That was absolutely disgusting. Do we need to question the coaching team now? Or question mark, still you never walk, or question mark, and then you never walk alone. Jesvin Jose says, starting to think it's more than the midfield now. We've got much bigger issues. Complacency have creeped into a lot of our players, especially Trent and Verge. And first Viz C says, I now genuinely believe we can't defend Trent anymore. I don't think Trent can defend anymore. That's the problem. If I've missed any, if you could keep starring them for me, Conrad, that'd be amazing. Klopp going to be under serious pressure, LL says. Sam, you're shaking your head, so I'm going to give you a few more minutes to read the comments and face the barrage that you will get from me and Errol, possibly Conroy as well. Errol, yeah, how you doing, my friend? No, not how you doing. What'd you make of that?
That's just bullshit, bro. That's not acceptable. Like, if we haven't by now this point in the season, and I know we're still early into the season, it's just kicked into September, but if by now we haven't seen that we are not playing up to the standard that we have set for ourselves in the past by getting beat and not getting results against teams that aren't even in form and teams that haven't got the squad depth or the quality of players that have still managed to hurt us this season, how we thought we could rock up and sleepwalk our way into a game in Napoli's ground, with those fans, in that cauldron of an atmosphere and a setting, and think we was just going to waltz through that game and secure 3 points in the bag is fucking beyond me, because those players need to take a deep look at themselves. But so does Klopp. Klopp knows that these players have not been playing good enough so far this season. Why is he giving man a chance when we need to, like, I genuinely thought when I woke up today, like, there was a lot going on in my head, but I thought, you know what? Maybe the Champions League today is going to be a nice break from the pressure of the Prem. Maybe there's going to be a different energy and a different kind of mentality towards it, because it's like, right, guys, the season's not gone on to the way that we wanted, but here's a fresh chance to kind of reignite things in a different way, set another tempo, set another tone, and go out and prove that we are actually, you know, European elites, European royalty. Let's go and do that today, because Napoli are always up for it. They always gave us a game, and they are always our bogey team in this competition, because that will give us a lot more confidence than the likes of being able to beat Fulham or being able to get a draw against Crystal Palace, whoever it might be. This game would mean more to us. But we can't even get ourselves mentally prepared for that. And I think sometimes it comes down to the fact that Klopp is now choosing players, and other players in the 11 are looking, thinking, why is my man getting a game? We know that this is a big game. Why the fuck's my man starting with us? Because that's not what we need. And we'll probably go into the individuals and brook them all down piece by piece as the conversation goes on. But for me, that's just where it starts. It starts from Klopp picking individuals that are not fit for purpose at this particular level, at this stage right now. When we're seeing out games, or when we've got the group stages all sewn up, then you can roll out your fucking Gomez's and your Milners, because the job's done, and you need to rest legs and preserve players and get the man them that you need out to just see you through a game, not when you're trying to get points on the board.
Sam, I'm going to come to you very, very next second. Just a couple of super chats that I wanted to bring because they're relevant to what I want to talk to you about. Gomez, horrible again. Been saying it for a month now, bro. We look so tired, no legs in midfield. Fabinho is actually a ghost in midfield. I expect Milner to be terrible and Elliott is young, but Fabinho's inability to win the ball is also costing us. Now is the time, Anchor says. Now is the time the team really needs us. Can't get toxic like Arsenal or United. More reinforcements in December. tactical changes or write-off season? I guess this has fallen to the right man, these questions. First, Errol said something about the players will come under scrutiny and they were shit, etc., etc. I'm going to start with the manager. I'm going to start with the manager because last night, Sam, we done a preview show, and to a man, have you still got dog issues? Is it still barking? You're right now.
Nah.
Oh, who had dog issues? I think it was you. That's what I carried on talking because I thought you put yourself on mute and you're waiting for the dog to go quiet. But I'll stop barking in a minute. Lost my trail of thought, but I'll come back. Last night, to a man, none of us thought the lineup would be the lineup that he went out with today. Now I get it. I get it because it's Jurgen Klopp. He is the one that pulls the punches. When he puts team lineups up, and how many times has he slapped us in the face with his lineup, and we get proven so wrong because we don't fucking know the game. He knows the game. But I think it's come to a point where it's fair to say, Sam, and I'm going to come to you for this. It's fair to say, pretty much to a man. I think Conroy, just nod Conroy if you agree, and Errol if you agree. To a man, there was at least one selection where we were shaking our head like, what is the plan? What is he thinking? When you saw the lineup, because you are the toppest red I personally know, right? And me and you have so many, me and you are lovely top mates. We fucking love each other, and I'll back you to the hilt and back. But me and you have had to's and fro's on social media, Twitter, about lineups, about midfielders, about selections, about everything. Talk to me what you thought when you saw that lineup. The platform's yours for a few minutes.
To be fair, I think the issue we've got at the moment with that selection in the middle of the park is that we have three players that generally naturally play on the left side of the midfield, right? I think we'd all agree. Starting from the bottom, you'd probably say third choice is Curtis Jones. Not quite established himself yet, but he's unavailable. Second choice is Naby Keita. Unavailable. God knows what's going on. We've all heard the rumours, whatever. But he's always been second choice there. And third choice is Thiago. Obviously wasn't ready enough for this game. The issue you've got with that is that Henderson's kind of moved over for the first time I've really seen his career this season. Fourth choice, maybe fit, whatever you want to call it, unavailable. So I think, as much as I agree with you that, I think James Milner is not a player that should be starting for Liverpool Football Club in these games any more than the odd occurrence. I mean, like one game, every now and then, or one in a month or something like that, just to rest people, like Errol said. The problem that we've got is that there's nobody to throw in there. I was exactly the same as Errol. I thought today was going to be an opportunity for the team to go out there and kind of take the pressure off, relax, enjoy the game. It's not the Premier League. You're not under the same British media and the Erling Haaland pressures that seems to be all on Liverpool at the moment because City have done what they've done and Arsenal have done what they've done. But from straight away into the game, you could see what type of game it was going to be from the
straight
first
away. Sam, we're talking first minute, Sam.
Yeah.
First minute.
The issue is for me, I've got no issue with Milner playing. But why is
wait, hold on. Why haven't you got no issue with Milner playing? Because at the moment, because of this freak situation where we've got four lads who basically can fill one void out, which is like ridiculously it's all right when you got one there. But the point I'm making is we didn't have much other choice. That it's just the choices. So what I'm saying is, I get that. I agree with you because our current situation means I knew he's going to start.
Yeah, I did as well.
But Conroy, I think, I don't know if you saw the yesterday preview lineup. I was adamant that he gets played alongside Fabinho, and just fucking both of you fucking sit there. Stop asking Milner to go around the pitch trying to press. Stop asking Fabinho. Stop asking Fabinho to go and fucking cover Elliot, who's a kid, and Milner's a kid. How are you playing three in midfield against the most pressing, attack-minded trio in Napoli in Europe right now? Everyone's talking about the midfielder on the right, Zielinski, Anguissa, and you're playing Fabinho literally on his own again, who's fucking out of form.
I get the Milner selection as well, Grizz.
I get them. Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. So sorry, Sam. I couldn't hold it any longer. I tried to give you 2-3 minutes. So sorry, I'm biting. I couldn't hold it because he played 4-3-3 again, Sam, which we've been saying he has to change it. This is why I wanted to ask you, what is going through Klopp's mind possibly?
This is what I'm saying to you, is that I have no issue with Milner playing, but you kind of made my point for me. But you can't deploy James Milner in the same way you can deploy Jordan Henderson or Thiago or Keita or Jones. We all agree on that. Like, I'm fine with them, and I expect it. I thought tonight to start the game with that kind of team we finished with like Nunez, Firmino, Salah, Diaz, like really push them, because
freshen it fucking up.
Why not? This is what I'm saying.
Why not?
And this is where people go on about FSG, the recruitment. At the end of the day, that game didn't have to go the way it did. James Milner got skinned and passed through every single time he tried. In the first 2 minutes. Exactly. Then obviously the penalty, I'm sure we'll come to, ridiculous. But all right. But for me, it's not even necessarily about the team anymore. The players. It's the way they're being deployed. I feel like Klopp is still asking them to do the same things. And I think when you're an opposition
from
team...
2018, Sam. From 2018.
But which is fine because of what we did last year. And we were so close to the Magic
Four. Last year. Last year's done out here.
Yeah,
last year has been
it's not done, no. But what I'm saying
last
to you is
year is like my ex. It doesn't exist in my life no more. Like, you have to draw a line under that shit and move on. Bro,
but if last year doesn't exist, you can't enjoy what we've got. Because the thing is, the reason why I'm smiling is because I went to Kiev, I went to Paris. We lost in Paris, we lost in Kiev. Also, what happened in Paris, right? They were the two lowest points of my being a fan, really. Losing those two fans in different ways of what happened. So getting beat to Napoli in the first game of the Champions League, but I still think we'll cruise through the group eventually. I'm not going to let it destroy me. But what I'm saying is, I look like League Gunner, the meltdown's glorious. This is what they want. It was poor, it was shit.
Big up, Lee, I know you're loving it.
What I'm saying to you is,
what
I'm saying to you is, Errol, is Klopp's still trying to get the team to do what they did last year with the players that aren't available from last year. That's what I was coming to. So last year is important.
I agree with him. No, I agree with him, Errol. I agree with him.
Which is silly.
Which is fucking mad.
But we call him a genius, though. We call my man a genius, yeah. We laud him. We tell him how tactically great he is, superior to 95% of the managers in the league, 90% of the managers across Europe. And if we as fans can see it stone cold as day, that these things need to change. And you can't, as Sam said, using your words, you can't deploy Milner in the same way you can deploy Naby, Jones, Thiago, Henderson on that left-hand side. Why is Klopp not saying, you know what, let's just wheel up, let's just be a little bit conservative, let's go, let's not play into their hands and give them what they expect, let's not put it on a plate for them, let's make them
check this
work
out. Check this out. Either that, Errol, or like Sam I think hinted, or I hinted yesterday, that you've got full complement of your attackers, you've got very few complement of your midfielders, and you've got pretty much all your complement of defenders. All right, Khanage missing. Go out and fucking attack and have fun. Pick an attacking lineup. At least go down guns blazing, or revert to something different and see if we can play a low block for fucking once. Go and get a draw. Your mission is to go and get a result at Napoli whilst your players come back, whilst players get fit. So fucking go and play something different. Conroy, he didn't do either of that. And I tweeted, because you know what? We've been burnt a few times in the past when we're trying to second guess Klopp and we get slapped because he's Jurgen Klopp. But this time I tried to do a pragmatic tweet. I said, I think Jurgen Klopp's picked a safe team. I think it's probably is the most match fit team, and I tried to sit on the fence and play it safe, not to fucking cuss him too much before the game started, because you're a dickhead if you cuss him before the game started. But I didn't want to go top red and say trusting Klopp, because I didn't trust that team, Conroy.
Yeah, no, I think honestly from the first minute, there's got to be a question now about there's a difference between philosophy and tactics. They're not the same things. You can adapt in games, right? I don't think we adapt too much, to be honest. I don't think we're great at it. I think
you said this before.
I've said it before. Other people will look to try adapt, and it doesn't just mean play a low block. It means look at what you've done in the past to improve that. And to me, I feel that the high line, okay, yes, I understand how it works, and I'm not going to say just throw it out, but tonight was not the night with that. You know how informed Napoli are. You know the players you got. The guy up top who came off injured,
Osimhen.
Osimhen,
Terrorized us. I've never seen a striker have it so
Or is that
easy
because he's
against
not scared? Is that because there's no fear? Is that because he's not scared of Van Dijk anymore?
Yeah.
No one is.
No one's scared. Do you know what a lot of football is? You have to adapt at certain times. I don't think we do. I don't follow this logic of, oh, we do plan A and we just keep doing it. That's nonsense for me. You need to adapt. You can't get to that level in life. You can be stubborn in your philosophy, but your tactics need to change in certain games. And for me, that is you can't play that way. You just can't. You can't play that way with a James Milner midfield. But you also can't play that way when your defence has been on the ropes for the last couple of weeks. Even the one player who's been playing reasonably well tonight, Joe Gomez, that could end his career tonight. That was that bad a performance, right? That was Lovren versus Tottenham-esque, right?
It was.
And I really like Joe Gomez, but you need to call it what it is. And it's not going to happen to him, right? Because he's got enough about him. And as an athlete, he'll be fine. But for me, like, you can't. That's the same. If that was Dejan Lovren, like that's what happened to him, and I think he'll be fine. But like, that was horrendous. Like, that is
watershed.
You can't be in a Champions League final a year ago, and I know Gomez didn't play, but I mean that defense, that team, it's just there's got to be enough in a team who gets a Champions League final last year, enough bottle to say, someone in that team to say, no, this is not happening. This is what we need to do now. But what does that tell you? Maybe we think there's better leaders in that team than there actually is. Maybe that's the case, or I don't know. It's easy for me to say, but if they're going out there with instructions to follow.
Do you know what? Do you know what though? You know, with Gomez, what's interesting tonight is that Verge tonight looked like he couldn't keep up with their attack for the first time I've never seen Verge look like, wow, he looks like he can't keep up. But Gomez looked fast enough, but he just made 2 or 3 really poor decisions.
He didn't even start the game that bad, Sam. He actually done all right to start with, and then just fell off.
He should. But where I think I agree with you on Gomez, and he'll be okay long term, is that what he's done tonight is made 3 or 4 poor decisions where he should have just kicked it to the stands. But instead he's tried to be like the ball playing sense of that and got caught. Yeah. But do you know what the biggest issue with me with our team, our system, and how we're adapting, and what's putting us in so much shit, is that we're trying to play too many low percentage passes in areas where we lose the ball. Like for instance, Trent will try and play. He played that pass into Salah. Unbelievable. Salah spins and shoots, right? He might do it again. We lose the ball, but because of where he's losing the ball, they're one pass from being through on goal, and that's happening too much. We can't even press sometimes because we're losing the ball in areas where literally one pass is through anyway. So the lack of quality with the ball is costing us without the ball as well. We're losing it too many times in the wrong areas.
Just a couple of super chats before about that.
That's because we're vacating the midfield. We've got headless fucking chickens running down into channels and running beyond the forward man or the man who's meant to be up front, because the man who wants to be up front wants to drop into midfield, but is not effective in that space anyway. So when that happens, you've got, and I watched it happen a couple of times. Sam, check this. On that right-hand side, Trent is highly advanced. Elliot was highly advanced. Salah was highly advanced. They're all that same corner in that little diagonal. The second we lose the ball, my man spins and he's got the whole left-hand side on for them to run up with no one around to challenge him. Fabinho's in the middle, so obviously he's going to start to come over, but he's got to move from the middle of the pitch to get over to the right-hand side. And if he can't get there quick enough, the guy's got the whole space, and then it's like, well, do I go over to try and close the man down, or do I run to cover the space in the box in case he cuts it back? So he's already caught in 2 minds from the fact that over on that right-hand side for us, we've got 3 players that want to play as advanced wingers. None of them are moving into the box. No one's going central. We've got 3 of them that are overloaded, just occupying the same space, making the same runs, blocking the same passing lanes, and not making themselves available. And none of them are taking any responsibility to say, hang on a minute, there's 3 of us in here. Maybe I should just drop back a little bit and just open out our space a bit. So Napoli players are drawn to players and not all going to the ball. We don't do that enough. And then on the other side, you've got Milner doing these runs where he's running into blind alleys, and again, it's the instruction for me, because that's what
it's instruction.
That's what he's being asked to do. He's being asked to do that, but then that just leaves. We basically, when we've got the ball, and if we don't retain it high up the pitch, soon as that ball turns over, we've got one man in midfield and a high line. That is
He's too high, though.
You would love to play against Liverpool right now. If you're a counter-attacking team, it is the bloody dream to play against Liverpool.
Hold that, guys. Just 1 second. You're absolutely. I hate that. That pisses me off. Dan says, I'm a United fan, so Liverpool losing is great. However, in all seriousness, why does Klopp never adjust his tactics when it's needed? That's a high line. That's exactly what Conroy said. Klopp is a one-trick pony, too stubborn and inflexible. Amit's also, Trent is so lazy. I'm going to get onto that as well. I don't know who wants to take the Trent talk today, but you know what I mean. Props to Napoli. Absolutely. Napoli done, and that baller, all the hype was justified because he terrorized the fucking right side. Absolutely terrorized. Klopp said the players can't play together just now. I don't know what that means, but the Knicks come to the rescue. Klopp said, until Thiago entered the pitch, I'll Mick to the rescue. He says, I cannot remember one counter-pressing situation. Everything was obvious. We have to reinvent ourselves. Wow. Well, fuck, Klopp. It should have been done before this game. Sam, I'm going to start digging out individuals.
For, Chris?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I know. I know.
We're not saying this in December or January when it's like fucking hell. It's all of a sudden become a little bit stale. We've just had a fucking pre-season to implement new styles. We've just brought a number 9 that is more of an archetypal forward number 9 that wants to get in between the box. Him and Jota are the guys that you say, you get in the box, we'll create chances for you. It doesn't have to be these hit and hope crosses, but we will create nice patterns of play where you end up as, even if it's cutbacks, you guys are going to be the ones that receive the ball more often than not. That's the style we're going to go to. We can play with 2 baseline midfielders that don't really press that high, and we'll only engage with 4 players. If you beat our 4-man press, then that's fine, because we've got another 6-man there that are ready to soak up any pressure. These are tactics that could have been implemented from 2 months ago, but we've not looked to do it. So now if we do it, we're reactionary, and it's going to take how long for it to become implemented?
And Sam, do you get what we're saying, and you're probably saying as well? Like Conroy started off by saying, there's a difference between having philosophy, right? Because you don't lose your philosophy over the longevity of your career. You believe in something, in a way of playing. But as we all fucking know to a man, if the state of our squad is such that we have to rely on the youngest midfielder and the oldest midfielder, again, lads, this is the 7th, 8th game, and 3 of those games we've relied on the youngest midfielder and the oldest midfielder to play in a fucking gegenpressing 8, as a gegenpressing 8, because that's what you are in a Klopp team, right? The 2 8s are your gegenpressers, and we're relying on Harvey Elliott and James Milner to do that.
He's not an 8. Harvey Elliott's not an 8. Newsflash for you: Harvey Elliott is not a fucking 8.
No, do you know what? I think there's a couple of things to sort of caveat all of this. Is first of all, obviously against Everton, it was a typical derby, really, for over the last decade. It was a typical derby, and Everton were really good for their value for their points. We actually created more chances than we probably ever have done there, bar last season when they were shite. So it was a typical derby, and I thought that coming off that game, I still thought we created enough to win the game. What's interesting tonight is that I thought that we actually still got ourselves into some decent positions to score. After the first half, I thought, they could have scored 6, but we could have scored bloody 3 or 4. Do you know what I mean? Like, we had Van Dijk had a header, Salah had that one he just misses, Elliott knees one. There's another one, I think, Van Dijk's feet. But what I think the issue is in terms of changing the team too drastically in between games is that you play a game on Saturday, you have Sunday off, and you come in to recover. Monday's still a recovery day, and you get to fly to Napoli and train on Tuesday night. It's not easy to change a lot of what you do. Where I do think what we could have done differently tonight is, I think we could have came into the game and known that this new young Napoli team and this atmosphere and what they've done to us before is, we could have just been more careful for the first 10, 15 minutes, settle the game down, then we pressed them. When the youthful exuberance has kind of dwindled down, the crowd settled, we did. Whereas, I mean, that may well have happened, by the way, but the penalty kind of took that away, and whatever everyone thinks about that, it doesn't matter. But I think it was almost like we started poorly, but then what could go wrong would go wrong. Just one more thing to come back is Errol was talking about, and Conroy was talking about pre-season, and we did it. Maybe we did do that. So I'll sort my dog out in a minute. He wants
No,
to
that's
go
right.
outside.
He's right. He's right. No, let him bark. Let him bark.
Yeah,
We all
tell
got
him
bark
Bruno. His
today.
name's Bruno. Big up
Yeah,
Bruno.
Big up Bruno every time. Yeah, we all got bark today.
I needed to laugh.
may,
that was good. That was good.
we may well have developed something in the summer, but then Khanage and all these other players have dropped out their squad, and maybe 3 or 4 of them, probably including Thiago and Nunes, were big parts of that development. So if you've plucked out 3 or 4 of the new elements of your new system that are relatively important, maybe we haven't been able to get there. And it's probably true to an extent.
I know, but Sam, I would rather Klopp be stubborn, trying to implement something that us as fans could see. He's moving away from his old model and he's trying something new. And we're just a couple of players away from making it work. Right now, even with being a couple of players away from whatever iteration it is, I don't see it working right now. I'm being honest with you, bro. I don't see how a couple of players coming back over a sustained 6 to 8 to 12 week period is going to fix the issues that we've got from front to back at the minute.
I agree, but what I'm saying is that that's you're right, because what happens is when something goes wrong in any walk of life, once something goes wrong and then more things start to go wrong, the base issue is just something that happened 2-3 weeks ago. So what happened was we went to Fulham, we weren't up for it, then we lost Thiago, probably win the game with Thiago on the pitch for 90 minutes, especially the way Diaz and Nunes and Salah were interchanging at the top end. But the problem is that one thing goes wrong, then Thiago gets injured, we don't get the 3 points. Then we play Palace, we actually start well in the first half, should have scored more goals, didn't, they score. Then we get a man sent off. So what happens is the first problem becomes irrelevant because the second and third problems start to build. Then you've got no points. Then we have the situation at Man United. Then we obviously go and draw with them. So all these problems that build mean that we can't just go back to our system because you've gone down a path of one issue, then another issue, and you're constantly firefighting one problem to another. So I do think, whereas I do think we'll be okay in the long term in terms of we'll recognise ourselves. I also agree with you that right now it's very difficult to get out of this because we've got so many problems that have caused other problems, and our confidence and tiredness and fluidity is gone because of all the other problems. So it's a downward slope, isn't it? Look at Chelsea, for instance. They're in exactly the same position. There's no reason why they should be playing as poor as they are with the players they've got. But one problem starts to lead to another. A last-minute equaliser, this, that, a few injuries to key players. And then you end up in the slump that you're in. So we may see ourselves again in the coming months, but you are right, Ella, it's going to take a lot more than just 2 players coming back to fix it.
Zaberi sends in a super chat. He says, bless up, Chris. Found a baby gecko in my bioactive terrarium this morning. So excited for the little guy. Parents could have ate him. Big up the fans then.
Grizz, can I just add on
that
as
Conrad,
well?
go for it.
See something, I don't know, because we're just talking right now, but after tonight, the first thing in the last couple of games is the team looks tired. That looks tired. So trying to implement high pressing system is not very smart, to be honest. So just to add to your point there, that was the 7th game in a row. 7th game in a row that we've been outrun, outsprint. Right. And that was not to do with possession tonight. That was 0 to do with possession because we had all the possession we wanted and we were trying to make runs and we weren't hurting them. So it was, people tried to say maybe it's a possession thing. No, tonight it was obvious. They were around us. We couldn't get near them at times. But my biggest point of that, like, football is not rocket science at times. Like, there is obviously the in detail stuff that win championships against the top persons, right? But right, it's not rocket science. If you're not in a good run and you look a bit tired and you've got pace in the counter, why not just try play counter attack for one game against the game you'd get away with it? You're not against you're not against McKeever, you're against Napoli, who, by the way, you've been brutal the past 2 times you've been there. By the way, absolutely brutal, and you've just topped it off with a hat trick tonight. It's honest. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. Sometimes football is a simple game for complicated people. And tonight is, for the first minute, is a definition of that. You could have played. I don't know why. You just say, "Oh, you have the ball. See what you can do." And then, as you said, Sam, Man United, one of the greatest teams ever in the Premier League, right? How good a team did they have? They'd come to a poor Liverpool team at Anfield and just get through the first 20 minutes because then the crowd will get on you. But then when it quiets down, that's when you pick them off. Like, stuff has happened in the past. It's a reason it's been successful. But we just feel like, it annoys me as well because see that philosophy and that thinking, the philosophy is great, but see that thinking, it's not really been that great for us for these big fixtures because our record at Everton's bang average and our record at Old Trafford's been bang average. So it's not like this sudden way has changed our result in these stadiums bar last season. So, like, I do think, I say this all the time, like, I'm not going to say anything mental because it's stupid to say Klopp's best manager we've had in the modern era, and you're not going to get in it. He's amazing, right? But at times, I do think there can be adaptability. Like, I don't understand why there isn't. Like, literally, you could ask a championship team right now, and they'd say, "Oh, this is how you."
We're the easiest team to listen to me very carefully here. Listen to me very carefully. I'm not bullshitting. I'm not. You know me. I don't go over the top.
I know.
Only when it's needed. I'm not joking.
I'm not saying they win. I'm just saying they know how to play us.
No. We are the easiest team to play. Probably
right now,
one of these in the whole Premier League right now. I'm telling you that, guys, for a fact. And that hurts because I used to pride myself on being the supporter of one of the most difficult teams to play against. I used to tell my boys, we may not win every game, but fuck me, you guys have to play the game of your lives to beat us because we're so hard to beat. We may draw because we can't break the door down, but now we're very easy to beat.
And we're boring. It's boring because we know what's going to happen. We know we're predictable. But my question is, right, we're stood in a house that's smoking. As fans, we can see the smoke. The players can feel the fire, the heat. Why the fuck is nobody breaking the glass and saying, yo, let's get the sprinklers in here? And where's the contingency plan? Where is the fireproofing? Where is the system in place to say the options, as Sam said, the options that we had aren't particularly available to us right now. We're not able to implement a new particular system. As a contingency, as a break glass element.
There is no contingency, Errol.
This is what I'm asking, Grizz.
Do you guys see it? Why don't we see it? We're all seeing it. We're laymen. We don't know fuck all about football compared to the fucking people that do know.
You're right.
Klopp
we don't know nothing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Klopp is here for the long run. So if you're here for a quick time and not a long time, you don't have a contingency. Kyle, you don't know whether you're going to be here today, gone tomorrow. That's just life. Life comes at you fast. But if you're planning for a long-term project, at certain points, you've got to understand you've got the best sports scientists, you've got the best physios, you've got the best coaches, you've got, a world-class assembled squad. You've got to know people's limitations. And when you push a team as far as, to go back to Sam's reference, you pushed us as far as we went last season, you've got to think, worst case scenario this year, we might just need a contingency. I don't want to say transition. I don't want to say it might be, we might have to change things and it's going to be a season where there's a bit of growth and development, but there's just a contingency if we don't hit the ground running. There is a way that I am comfortable with using our players to make sure that we play as effective a football as possible without expending, because I said this to you the other week, Grizz, bro, when you go down 1-0 in a game, when you're on the road to a European giant that have been our bogey team, as Conroy said, whenever we go on the road to them, man, we struggle. So we know for a fact, as soon as you go one goal behind, we're exerting almost, and we should be, but we're not even capable of doing it right now, but we should be exerting twice as much effort to get back into the game.
We haven't got that energy. We haven't got that energy.
Let me finish. We haven't got that in it. We haven't got that in the tank at the minute. We just haven't got that in the tank. And then on top of that, because we're putting ourselves in that situation, and we've been willingly, consciously doing it now for the last two and a half months, we're not actually saying to ourselves, right, there are other ways to play football. Let's find a way that suits the players we've got available to us. So Milner, again, go back to Milner, for example. He hasn't got the legs. I don't want him running around like a headless chicken. But if he has to support either one of those channels, left or right, as long as he's alongside Fabinho, he can do it. If he's going horizontal on the pitch, he can do that for days. But I don't want him going up, down, diagonal. I don't need him doing all it. That's too extra. You're doing too much, bro. Calm the fuck down. Do you get me? Fabinho, same. If you can't stop their ball-playing midfielder from picking passes, then you just need to sit deep and just stop screen the lines. These are really simple things that the players we've got have got certain qualities. Move Harvey more central. You need to be moved more central because you're more of a 10. You've got the ability to unlock a pass, but you blocking up a lane and space where Trent wants to be because we use our fullbacks is hindering us because we've got too many players overloaded that far up the pitch that we've got no real balance. I was complaining to you the other week about saying the left-hand side's got no balance. All of a sudden, the right-hand side's out of fucking flux as well. Right now, and this is where I think, as you were saying, we need to talk about certain individuals. Individuals now need to be held responsible and accountable, and they need to step up and look at themselves. Even if it is a one-to-one chat with Klopp and saying, look, right now I'm struggling. You can see I'm struggling. I know I'm struggling, and I haven't got the legs. Like, confess where in your body your pain points are, whether that's the legs, whether it's a mentality thing, whether it's a psychological thing, because everybody's got their own deficiency right now. We can look at Mo and say, psychologically, you don't look yourself. We could look at Trent and say, right now, you need to go back to the training ground and sharpen your toolkit on defensive duties. You can look at Van Dijk and say, you've lost a little bit of intensity and everyone's chatting about man's aura. Like, is this what we need to find out what the real issues are with all of these players, so we can say, well, here are all of your qualities. Let's go back to just relying on your qualities week in, week out. Fix your qualities and reestablish them, and then we'll work and we'll take time to figure out what's been going wrong in the background.
Sam and Conroy, I'm going to let you guys go very quickly. First Vice says, Grizz, tell me it's going to be okay. I can't, mate. I can't tell you it's going to be okay. Trent getting slow cooked. Ron says, good thing my power went out. Sup, lads? The way the rain's coming down looks like my power's going to go out as well. It's fucking pouring it down. Adams, of course, a resident Man United fan, says, I have to say this is beautiful. My manager in his first press conference said eras have to come to an end and your club's demise is being televised. We showed the world how to beat you when you came to Old Trafford. I have to admit that they did. They didn't show it because other teams had stopped us as well. But, you know, it enhanced people's ideas how to stop us. Why it was me says, let me just finish, then it's yours. It seems like players are righted off this season from start. Trent, Van Dijk, Fabinho, Robertson and Salah all are looking like someone drained energy from them. Annabelle says, we'll turn this around. Have faith. It's a healer. Have I missed out anything, Conroy?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, he goes Trent. Yeah, Trent is moving into midfield very, very soon, in my opinion. And the last one, Flacco. Look at that. Look at that. Read that yourselves. Yeah. Look at that.
That's my problem. Go on. That's my problem. So you know, you talk about running and things like that. Like, listen, unless you want to go back to last season and tell me how many games we got out, we outran another team. I don't really want to hear about the outrunning us because it doesn't. It genuinely. Being outrun isn't. You could have the ball for longer in some games. I know exactly.
So that's what I mean.
The way
so
we play, more. Yeah. The way we play is very stretched, and we move big long. Anyway, whatever. But the thing for me is we're trying to make these challenges, but we're not sharp enough. Our pressing angles are not there anymore. So how many times have we seen Milner tonight go sliding in, and he's just all wrong. He's miles off where he needs to be. He goes to ground.
How can you go to ground, be the most experienced player, put your hands out when you're blocking, and then 5 minutes later go to ground at the most ferocious away ground and you're going to ground in front of a European referee trying to be aggressive when you're 40? Play with your brain. 2 incidents of brain deadness. Is that even a word?
That's what
I'm going to use it.
That's what I'm saying. I think Fabinho's playing too high up the pitch as well. The amount of times Fabinho was engaging with their DM, and the minute he loses that, we're in trouble. And that's what I think to myself, I said, who's telling you to engage with them in their own half when knowing full well that if you don't win this tackle, they're in? But do you know what my biggest bugbear of this whole thing is? And I keep saying this, and everyone's giving me shit about it, is that
go on.
Our biggest problem right now is the lack of quality in the final third. The amount of times we get the ball into their final third, even into a good shooting position, or someone takes it on and Robertson's touch goes out of play. There was one today, Artur takes far too long to play the cross.
Bobby and Salah were fucking atrocious today.
I think they had a competition first half to who could get the worst performance.
Conroy, that first half was embarrassing from them two. Honest to God, embarrassing. I'm not defending them one single bit. I've actually cancelled the rate and debate show. I'm not doing no player ratings today. I'm not doing it. All of them get 0, apart from Diaz, who gets 4.
Allison
will get 6, 7. Yeah. Everyone else, guys, F the rating debate show. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah. So, like I said, but this is the thing is, you know, when you're not playing very well defensively, or your midfield's not being able to engage in the right way or whatever, take your chances. Look at Man United, right? You just kind of alluded to it. I think we're better than that, by the way. And I think we'll be better than Man United this season. So all these punks who are coming in here giving all this, just give it a few weeks, yeah? Just give it to 10 games, give it to the World Cup. Let's just see. We'll come back to this because The confidence is far too much. What Man U have done, though, is Ten Hag realised he ain't ready for this league with his football. He isn't. Man U's players, the intensity is not ready for this league. The people will come for you like Napoli did for us today. So what's he done? He's gone back to Ollie ball, sit back and ping fire forward.
So that's adaptability. Adaptability.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's short-termism from him. Liverpool are better than that, and we can't. Tonight we could have done something like that.
Of course.
Tonight we could have done something similar. But still, 1-0 down, couple of chances to score, we waste them. And the issue is when things aren't clicking for you, you've got to be clinical. You've got players who are nominated for the Ballon d'Or. You've got players who've scored in massive rounds of the Champions League in huge stadiums who are wasting chances. And this is not just tonight, this is other games. And this is where I actually think one of our biggest problems is we're not scoring enough goals. So therefore,
I agree with that as well.
When we're 1-0 down or we're 0-0, it's pressurising the whole team. The crowd can feel it. The other crowd can feel it. The defence can feel it. They make take your chance. You paid enough money. Take your chance. Yeah, and then it's a different outlook on the game.
I get that and I agree, Sam. But what I would say, if you don't score and you're defending well, you get a draw. But right now we're 1-0 down before half-time every game. So I think there's a balance to both. Like, you know, if you're not playing well, you're not defending well, but you're still getting defenders to zoom out on the halfway line to play the offside trap. I mean, it's actually it's baffling. Like, it really is. Like,
suicide ball right now, man. I've been telling you.
What is the reward for suicide ball? Because the best goalkeeper in the world still has to save 3 or 4 one-on-ones a game.
Every game.
This is not genius tactics. It's crazy. It doesn't make sense.
It is. It looks bad, doesn't it? It looks bad.
This is what upsets me though, because I know. We already know the pressure in the situation. As Sam said, when things are going wrong, it starts to stack and it starts to add up, and you feel more pressure week on week when things aren't going right, and the outside noise gets louder, and inside, you know, things in the machine are just starting to fall apart and break down. But what we're then doing going into the next game is we're being passive. We're playing the same style of football that's not yielding high-level results for us. And other teams are capitalising on our inefficiencies within the game, i.e. not taking chances. Crystal Palace, prime example. We was stronger on the ball. We looked more cohesive, but they picked us apart and they only needed a couple of chances before they was being... That was them being clinical. Well, 2. They had the other chance to think out. No, I think they had the other chance first, and then Alisson pulled off the save. And
listen, their first shot on goal, bro, went in, and that's the difference right now with us. We're hitting the post, missing, scuffing it, and then Zaha goes and does that, and for me, it's not good enough. It's annoying as hell.
But this is what I'm saying. But when it gets to that point, automatically, not only do you feel like you go into the game on the back foot, the reality hits you, and now you're on the back foot being 1-0 down. You are having to, when we haven't got it in the tank, you're then asking yourself to dig even deeper into a resource and a well that has run dry. We're not playing effective football. We're not playing efficient football. We're not playing smart football at the moment. That says, you know what?
Football. We don't need to be.
That's it.
We're not playing to ours. We're not playing to any of our strengths right now. I agree. The high line used to be a strength even a season ago when we was catching teams out week in, week out, and we had it down to a fine art. But since the end of last season, we've had to bring in 3 different centre-backs alongside Virgil van Dijk. Surely that's got to have an impact on his ability to feel confident that he can have that back line on lock. Because if it's not Khanage, now he's out injured. If it's Matip, he has 2 games, now he's out injured. Now it's Gomez, now it's Phillips. We're going back to the season where we're bringing in everybody, but Van Dijk's still there, and we've got that belief that any defender that steps up next to Van Dijk will be fucking world class. And even he's taking a bit of a knock to his own confidence to be like, I can't shore up this back line when I don't know who's going to be starting with me from one game to the next. So it's like, right, what are we able to do? What's within? And I always say, Conway's right. Philosophy is one thing, but your tactics is another. I've got a philosophy in life, yeah. Don't worry about the shit you can't control. Only focus on the things you can control in life, Kall. That's the only thing you can be held accountable for. But we can control the amount of effort and input that we put in. And you know what? Even if we know we can't give 110%, but we know we can give 70%, well, how do we exert 70% worth of effort in the most effective way that still yields high results? Because there's a formula for that. Other managers have found a formula to be able to do that. There are teams out there.
Do you think, Errol? Do you think all of this, like, do you know what they say when it rains, it pours, right? like, obviously they had that mad chance where it all kind of just fell and then goes round. And remember at the beginning, like 20 seconds, like what's going on? But we got away with it. It was like okay, and then the penalty comes, and I just think.
But do you know if we're
Like
having
you say, when it rains, it pours. It was a weird. Nobody in the stadium appealed for it. BT were talking about a corner, or was it a corner? Wasn't it? And the next minute they come back on. Did you notice the commentary were like, it was bizarre, the whole thing. And like I said, when it rains, it pours. So like, we started a bit frantically. We need to gather ourselves back. Like, penalty 1-0. Like, whoa.
Us as fans can feel sorry for the team because we're fans. So we're going to be gutted. We feel sorry for ourselves. We feel sorry for the team. But you as the team cannot feel sorry for yourself in that situation. You have to put an arm around each other and say, right, lads, we go again. We had 5 minutes into the game and we wasn't doing what we wanted to do. But there's still 40 minutes left of this half. And let's go and implement what's been asked of us. Because I can bet my bottom dollar that was not what Klopp was asking. If everything we're alluding to is we've got a contingency and there is another way that we want to play and we are going to try and change things, we didn't do it and we shit the bed and we reverted to type. That's what happened. We shit the bed and thought the only way out of this is doing what we know, doing all we know because we've done it before.
And that's worrying. And that is worrying. Conroy, I'm gonna come to you very, very, very next segment. He says, Grizz, have you noticed? Mohit says, Grizz, have you noticed Robbo overlapping every time and then cutting back to his right foot and passing it back? Just cross for fuck's sake. We need to do the basics. We didn't even have Bobby in the box today.
To be fair, there was I think there
absolutely no one in the box.
I'll criticise times, but there was no one in the box today.
No one in the box today.
I think it's like not. Yeah. I get that point in other games, but today that wasn't one of them.
Zayn Miassi, resident Arsenal fan, big up Zayn every time. He says, Grizz, the end of the Liverpool era is coming to an end. Arsenal will be the only team that can stop City. How would your defence stop Jesus, Saka, and Martinelli? Yeah, we're gonna need Jesus, mate. That's what we're on.
Still can't win at Old Trafford though. Typical.
Bizarre's in the chat who I called Ron earlier on, and he's laughing that I called him Ron, which is the currency he's using, which is Romanian currency.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You have to change your name to Ron now because
I know. I called him Ron, right? Because I thought, when I saw Trent for the Anguissa goal, I switched off. Guys, I'm coming to the individuals now. Yeah, I know. I'm coming to you for that. Tahir says, I understand people saying we need players, but Klopp said he don't want new players as he's happy with this team. Who is lying and who is not? Because there has to be accountability. Accountability. But Conroy, I think it's time. We've spoken about the team. We've spoken about the coach. We've spoken about the tactics. I want to start laying into the players. Choose your player. Each one of you think of your fucking player. Because if you don't, I'm going to kick you off the stream.
You know, I think I'll go for... I've spoken about it already, so I'll just finish with it and then someone can pick someone else. I'll go for Gomez for me. I think, to be fair, I don't think he started the game that bad. Like, I genuinely don't. I think he got to the areas, but as soon as he made the first mistake where, like, he wins the ball and it hits off his heel, and then it is the striker, I can't pronounce his name, runs in behind. Yeah, and then that's when Van Dijk clears it off the line. Since he made that mistake, it was like Lovren at Tottenham. His head just went, and then he makes a few bad decisions. I think another one where the guy beats him, I think, and they get the chance for that. And then the actual goal, the third goal, Trent gets done, but I'll let someone else take Trent because you could speak about Trent for 90 minutes if you wanted to tonight. Then Gomez gets here, as Sam said, he gets here again. See a championship defender, just clear your lines. You're having a bad game. It's a terrible place. We are shockingly poor in this ground. Just clear your lines. No messing. Let's not play like we're trying to be tiki-taka today. Let's just clear our lines. Basics. As that comment, I disagreed with it, but play the basics 100%. I don't know what he's doing. He gets out-muscled by... Like, I don't like when people say slick, because that winger might be in the gym every day, but he's still... Gomez is a stronger centre-back to hold him off, or just clear it straight away. To me, that was very complacent, very arrogance of, I'm this good a centre-back. Well, we're 2-0 down in Napoli, mate, so just clear the ball for a corner and deal with it later. It screamed that to me, and then as soon as he loses the ball there, I mean, I don't think you see centre-backs in Premier League, any team, lose a goal like that very often, that your centre-back actually completely loses it on the byline for a player to get a free cross into the box. I mean, that's like playing FIFA. That never happens. And then, obviously, as soon as he loses him there, he plays the ball across the goal, and obviously Van Dijk's not got a chance. It's an open goal for, I can't even remember, I think it's Giovanni Simeone's son. I
don't even know him. I know my European football. I don't know this guy who came on, and I don't know.
his son, I think. He came on. I think it is anyway. He came on for the striker's name I can't pronounce, and it was just like I was watching it and I'm baffled, thinking this is like. That's I don't even know what to compare that defending to. It's that bad. And listen, I think he'll be fine, but I do stick by the comments earlier. If there's another player that you didn't like with a performance like that, there would be. I know he is getting. You maybe not play for the team again. It's not going to be the case, and I don't want it to be the case because he will come back. But his head went there, and I think it was shocking. Am I forgetting another Gomez mistake, guy?
Plenty, Conroy. We could be here all night. Honestly, it was that bad. No, you're right. There is plenty. Guys, there's close to 1,700 of you here. Some of you are absolutely loving the tears. Some of you are here for therapy. There is no therapy. There's just pure rage. It's not even frustration at this point, Errol. It's anger. Even if you'd like the stream just for our anger and our tears, that'd be appreciated. There's 1,700 of you guys in here. Smash the like button so we can share this and let people know how when it's time to criticize, Errol, when it's time to go hard on this team, because they have brought so much joy in our lives that we defend them with our hearts and our lives when people out from the outside or from the inside criticize them. Yes, but on nights like this, you have to call a spade a spade. He's called out Joe Gomez. Who are you going for? And tell me why.
Bro.
I know you could pick anyone. I know.
And do you know what? There are obvious players there, and the chat knows who the obvious players are. But I want to go for someone that is less obvious for me, and it might not sit well with anybody in the chat. It might not sit well with the panel. But for me, I need to speak about Luis Diaz, because Diaz is an interesting one for me. I'm a little bit perplexed about his overall stature within this team at the moment, because he feels like he's got the world on his shoulders, like he has to be the one to do it for us. I think he is absolutely class in his actual ability, but in terms of this style, I said it to you a couple of weeks ago, I think he struggles with that left-hand side balance. I don't think he naturally fits in the same mold as what he does with Robbo. Robbo's game hasn't really been the same since Diaz has been part of this squad. There seems to be a clear imbalance for me there. The fact of the matter is, Diaz likes to come across the pitch. He likes to run with the ball a lot, but he just doesn't seem to have the timing of the press right in the same way that others have in the past when we've had the likes of Mane. And I think at the moment with Diaz, as much as I like his energy, I like his tenacity, there are just elements of his game which I just wish we would be able to fine-tune and speed him up so much quicker than what we've got right now, because he's not the finished article. And right now, that one cog, to me, is because we know what Bobby does, and we could sit there and pick holes in Bobby's game week in, week out, but we can't expect any more from the likes of Bobby. Salah right now is having a serious dip in form. Is that because he's missing Mane, his wingman? Is that because he's missing someone that was telepathic with him in the movement? I'm not 100% sure, but for me, there's a place for Diaz to really step up and elevate himself. And I know he gets us the goal, and it's a fantastic goal, which I will definitely say he was one of the few players that wanted to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. And I'm not saying that his performance was below par or substandard, but I am just a little bit confused at this moment in time of how we can get the most out of Luis Diaz in this current squad, because he's one of the rare shining lights that we've got. But ultimately, we're not utilising him to his fullest potential. He's not a tricky winger that's getting loads of crosses in from the byline or anything like that. Everything always seems to be, I want to cut inside, I want to try and open up for that shot, but everything just seems to be a little bit too telepathic. His runs to close people down always seem to be a little bit timed wrong, so the press is all over the place. Then he seems to just be cutting across the whole pitch and going on these mazy runs and turning his back away from goal, which isn't really offering us anything with any real forward passes. He's not really linking other forwards into the game in the way that I imagined he would be at this point in his Liverpool career. So I'm not picking on him because I think he was the worst performer. I'm not picking on him because he needs to hold his head in shame. I've highlighted
overall his game, yeah.
there's a certain element of development that I really want us to focus on for a player like him, because we said it before, we're lacking goals. Even though he scored today, I want him to be more of a creator, because we've only got really one out-and-out goal scorer, and it's Mo Salah. He's the one that's not in form at the moment. The others need to be creating chances for Salah to finish them. At the minute, nobody. Bobby doesn't create chances. Núñez doesn't create chances. We haven't got that many creative midfielders that create chances. If Trent's playing like shit, so who is it? Because Salah can't create and carry this team and create out of thin air. So someone's got to turn provider, and I genuinely want Luis Diaz to be that guy that steps up in that particular area.
All I'm going to say is keep an eye on your socials. That was a brave call. I know you're a brave man.
Yeah, that was a
brave call. But over
that's fine. That's just how I see it. I just
absolutely.
Mate, I could fire in on the likes of Trent. I could fire in on Salah. I could fire in on Verge. That's easy. That's lightweight. I'm trying to look at where we can actually make tangible improvements right now.
No, I know what you're thinking. Actually, I know what you mean. All the rest of them,
it's a wider sample size of the season. I'd say if you're talking about like steps going forward, there, I would 100%. I get where you're coming from, mate. I just think people tonight's a hard one because there's so many.
Oh yeah, of course they're not going to like it.
I know you've not played it. You've not played it like that. No, I got a lot of time for that, but I get that as the season so far. Because even to be fair, when he played with Shimikas against Everton, I thought maybe that would, but he was popping in the same area all the time. So yeah, definitely a conversation for another day as well.
Amir says if we lose 2-1, 1-0, I'm okay with that. But 4-1 could have been 7, possibly more.
Missed a penalty. They missed a penalty, got one cleared off the line, guys.
And hit the post. Sel Gomez, bench Trent, refreshed the entire midfield. We just can't at the moment. I really believe VVD saving himself for the World Cup. That was Errol's shout a couple of weeks back. Sam, tonight.
First of all, I want to respond to the shout. See, people are mad when they do these things here. Oh, it could have been 7-1. Yeah, but it also could have been 7-4. So 4-1 was fine because we had a couple.
That makes it loads better, Sam.
No, but Errol, what I'm saying is people try and point score. It could have been 7-1. Well, then, but you're also completely ignoring our opportunities. Well, so you've got to be balanced. You've got to say Napoli were the better side by 3 goals. It weren't like we peppered the door down and couldn't hit it. So I don't like those shouts. They're just a waste of time. But my ones, I think is relatively obvious for the person I want to dig out. And this is the person I've dug out the last 3 or 4 games. I think against Bournemouth, this player got a couple of accidental assists and a couple of goals that right place, right time, fine. You score any goal in the Premier League, it's a good goal. But it's Roberto Firmino. I think the problem that we have, and this can come down to a little bit of what we've been trying to do as a new team this year with Núñez, and it could also come down to something you were talking about earlier, Errol, with the little triangles that we've got going on between Trent, Salah and Elliott, because I see where you're coming from with your direction on that, and I respect that. I actually quite like that, because what I like is that them 3 draw a lot of attention. The issue we've got in our team at the moment is I feel like we're playing with 2 half sides. So I feel like the right-hand side is kind of what Klopp wants it to be, Salah, Elliott, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mattis been there most of the season, as they were half of the season. And if I missed out, Elliott, Salah, Trent, Fabinho's there. That's what he wants it to look like. The left side of the pitch, obviously, we haven't had Thiago. But Bobby, for me, he drops into the midfield really deep. And he hasn't got the footwork of Bernardo Silva. So what he does is he loses the ball a good high percentage of the time when he's in there because it's tight. And then we're in trouble. But when he does drop it and maybe passes it back to Robbo or Trent or Van Dijk, he hasn't brought anyone with him anymore. He doesn't do that. No one goes with him anymore. They just go on, go. We're used to this false 9 shit now. Go on, you walk into the midfield.
Absolutely spot on.
So you end up with like a weird midfield where you've got 4 players. And then you've got a back 4, which is what happened against Newcastle, where Salah and Diaz are absolutely outdone. And then you got Verge having to play these ridiculous raking balls, which he's amazing at, or Trent. And what Bobby does, I think the whole Salah, Trent and Elliott triangle could open up a lot of space in the middle for Núñez or Jota. And even Diaz coming in. But because we're playing Bobby, and Bobby's doing what Bobby does, he's dropping into these holes, he's taking no one with him, he's just being an extra body. He's costing us because we're not stretching teams, we haven't got a balance across the pitch. Where Bobby did well tonight was where somebody else won it back in midfield, one of the 3 on the defence, and he received the ball in between the lines, and then he was able to move forward with it, and then we had half a chance of counter-attacking. He did that against Everton quite well as well, because he was receiving the ball higher up the pitch. He wasn't dropping in as deep as he would. but he drops in far too often. And I don't think these days it's effective anymore because defenders don't go with him and vacate their space. So my person I want to dig out tonight, and it's as much down to Bobby as it's down to Klopp. It's how he used himself on how he also played, because he was pretty shit. Sorry for my language. Is Roberto Firmino. I think him and Milner need to be players moving forward now that are in our B and C team. If we're relying on Bobby in the new way that we're trying to play, quite direct, early balls in behind for Núñez and Jota, we can't do that anymore. He's got to be a bench player or a cup player. We have to get past the Bobby Firmino role now. We have to move past that.
100%. And I can't disagree with that at all. I don't know if Errol want to come back on that, or Connery want to come back on that, because I'm in total agreement. I love Bobby. Bobby's been playing very well recently. He's got the goals. He's got the glory. Everyone thought resurgence of Bobby. Klopp fucking fell for it again. That first half was embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing for Bobby Firmino, because he's spot on. He was dropping, but he didn't have the energy to go beyond the game. He wasn't dragging them out. They were passing him onto the midfielders who were just bringing him down or falling. His control wasn't on it. When you've got Mohamed Salah going wide and you've got, what's his name, Luis Diaz going horizontal, like Errol was alluding to, there is no one running beyond. You're asking Milner to run beyond the forwards, making third man runs. This is insanity. For insanity, what are you asking 36-year-old Milner to do with an immobile Bobby in the same team, and not really a quick Elliott as well, on top of Fabinho? I'm surprised no one's called out Fabinho, because maybe it's my turn and maybe I should call out my version of who I want to call out, because I've been calling out Fabinho and everyone's saying, oh, you've got this fucking Fabinho agenda. Are you not seeing it? Are you not seeing Fabinho's performance?
I feel sorry.
No, I'm not feeling sorry for no one. No, I'm not. No, he's not. So what? Do your thing then on the ball quicker and sharper. He's not even doing that. I'm not feeling sorry for no one. I felt sorry for Virgil last year when he had a season out. No problem. We gave him up to January to bring back his form. He did.
We got team of the year, Grizz, last year.
But we felt sorry for Trent when he gets abused from opposition fans, because we tell him, watch him come good, and he comes good, and he pockets attackers, and he ends up with the most assists. We back Robertson, who has a few bad games, but then consistently is superb. Mohamed Salah always fights back. All of these players, we back. I'm not even... Trent was atrocious again. He's playing like a man in a trance. Conrad, I know you wanted to touch upon that goal, that 1-2, or that... That's going to be played, guys. We're going to wake up to images of Trent for that third goal. Was it third or second goal? The 1-2
second.
Where first the ball gets tapped past him, and he stands there, and then he stays there.
Yep. It was like he was very similar to PS4 and the controller.
Do you remember the Man United goal? Do you remember the Man United goal?
It's exactly the same. Play them on repeat. Honestly, there's a. I don't know what's happening with him right now, but if he can't sprint, shouldn't he be playing? I don't care. I know he's a creative outlet, but if he can't sprint to the ball, then he's not fit enough to play. And if that's the reason, then he shouldn't start.
Do you know what his problem is, though? And this is, again, what we were talking about with Sam. We've not made an understudy that is fit and available. I don't know who. Calvin Ramsey seems like a myth. Is he even a real player? Is he a ghost?
I was adamant Gomez goes to right back today and Matip starts. We do not concede goals.
What do Arsenal do? What do Arsenal do when Tommy Asu just signs out? Put Ben White at right back. Adaptability. You got to stop saying if one thing goes wrong that you plan for 3 months, that's it then, chuck everything out. It's literally a game that's watched by billions of people. You should be able to adapt. It's not crazy to think. Everyone said tonight, put Gomez at right back.
I don't think he wants to be a right back right now. I don't think his head's in it. I know it sounds
tough, mate.
I know he said
got a contract.
I think he's looking at, like, you know what I said from the outset, where man, like looking at like Klopp picking certain players in the team. He's probably thinking, when are you just going to call me to play in midfield? Like, we've got...
Mate, you need to sprint if you're in midfield. You can't jog. You can't jog. No, this is unacceptable.
He thinks he probably has an overconfidence in his own belief. He's got that hubris vibe going on right now.
Under 23s then. Klopp should take that right from him, because he's not any better than any player in that team.
Do you know what though? do you know what though? I think probably what's going on with Trent as well, is I'm not excusing any laziness or whatever you want to call it, is what's going on in front of him is horrendous at the moment as well. Like, he's in our team to be our version of De Bruyne on the ball. He's in our team to play those impossible passes, to those superb runs in behind. He's in our team to create things and play those passes that he played to Salah today. But it's impossible right now, because for 90 minutes we're doing stupid things. There's no cohesion up there.
Yeah, but so he's doing a lot of them, Sam. Yeah, but he's doing a lot of them, Sam.
Yeah,
he's doing a lot.
But I think he's doing a lot of them because he's having to play more passes that are lower percentage. Because
but I'm not even talking about his passing. Yeah, but I'm not talking about his passing. I don't want him to create anything for a couple of games. For a couple of games, I want him to play. For a couple of games, I want him to play as an orthodox right back. Now, if you're going to turn around and say to me, but Grizz, that's not his game, then fuck him out the team. Fuck him out the team for now. No, because we don't need that now,
why
Sam.
don't we cover him more, though? Why doesn't
you right then, let's play your devil's advocate. We don't need him right now. We don't need a creator from that position right now. Who is creating and bring? Because I said to you before, Salah can't carry us on his own.
Errol, I don't want to concede the first goal, Errol.
I don't consider who's gonna help us score the first goal then? Who's gonna help us get the assist to set up and
change
that first goal?
Just very quickly, how played we got by the Community Shield? How false positive and that. Also, how's Naby? Apparently, Naby Keita's been selected for.
No.
Yeah. But I'm assuming they've just announced it and then he's gonna pull out. I'm assuming. So we'll address that another day. Fuck Naby Keita for today. I don't want to mention his name. Errol, I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying, right, is if we're saying who's going to create, then that's an issue in itself. If Trent is our only creative outlet, whilst we've got Jota, Bobby, Diaz, Nunes, Salah, Thiago in our team, Elliot. If Trent is our only reliable creator, then there's deeper issues than we've discussed today. So I don't want Trent's creativity for a couple of games because I don't want any mistakes to come down that goal. 3 of our goals have come down that side again, lads. Again.
Can I just add this in? Maybe there is a bigger problem here. Just firstly, I actually been saying this past couple of weeks, I think there's too much on Trent, a 23-year-old, to be our main attacking outlet.
You did say that.
100%. And so I'm not contradicting myself. I'm just saying, right, tonight, Trent was up there with the worst player in the park with Gomez, right? Yeah. And we're chasing the game and he doesn't get taken off. To me, because of what you said, Errol, that's because he's one of the biggest creative. Even when he was shockingly poor, Klopp still kept him on. To me, does that not worry a little bit?
This is my point.
If you're seeing,
but he didn't do it. He didn't do it in the last 2 games, though, Conroy. So that kind of
no. But what I'm saying, mate, if you have a shocker, right, and you don't get taken off,
I don't think he had as bad a shocker as you saying he is, though. Like, listen, I've played fullback before, mate. Right, when people pass the ball around, there's fuck all you can do. Right, when this is an obsession we have. I've said this on various of the shows. We obsess over certain things.
Tonight,
mate, if someone plays a 1-2 around you, there's nothing you can do. The second goal was Fabinho's fault. It was his man. He doesn't take. The pass comes in and the guy goes through it, and Fabinho doesn't take the goals away.
Sam, did you, Sam? I need you to go on your phone right now and watch the highlight of is it the second goal, lads? What we're talking about?
It's the second goal.
Look at Trent standing still as a fullback, and you're saying that's not a shocker.
But that's because. But Robertson doesn't do it either, though. But they just don't attack down.
They do. They instantly react.
You need to run after
defenders. Run back. They react. They try to do something.
Our whole system is always about holding the line. Always is. Now, whether that's right or wrong, but that's what it's about.
But no, Chris isn't even talking about when they're holding the line. They're talking about when they're running back. As he's running back, he's walking back. He's not running back.
Check one goal. You're going to fume.
There's not in the line. But I don't know. There's too much emphasis put on Trent, though, as well, because he probably has to cover more ground than most people on the pitch because of how high he gets. So you can't have it both ways. You can't expect.
No, we can't.
We need a midfielder to cover Trent. That's what we need. We need a midfielder to cover Trent. We need Fabinho to come over.
But Sam,
Harvey's not the 8th for that right-hand side. While we've got Trent playing as high, occupying as high up the pitch as he possibly is, and not fulfilling all of his defensive responsibilities. I think we'd all agree on that.
I think he is fulfilling them.
No, he's.
But we think he should do more, but actually the system doesn't want him to do more.
No, it's not about doing. It's not about doing more. There is a level of defensive responsibility that Trent has got to have, irrespective of what he brings going forward.
As a foundation,
as a foundation,
as a base.
We can't excuse him from those defensive responsibilities. But what I will say on the other side of that is, he needs someone on that right-hand side that is capable of being able to assist and cover. Because let's be honest, the right-hand side, that midfield has to play as a half a wing back, right back anyway.
Yeah,
they have to. That's their role in their particular system. Harvey Elliott is not, whether he's being tasked with that or whether he's capable of doing that. Right now, we're not seeing that as a result of his game. And that's not a detriment to Harvey Elliott, and that's not me throwing slants on him. It's the fact that I don't think in this current system, he is the most completed right back, because Trent is right midfielder, because Trent's not the most completed fullback for us. He's good going one way, but there is a deficiency when he doesn't fulfill the foundations we expected him going the other way. So for me, what we need to really address, and this is where I think more than anything else, we probably save ourselves a lot of issues in terms of we'd probably answer a lot of problems or solve a lot of problems or find out a lot about our team if we change the system to a 4-2-3-1.
But you can't do that at this level, Errol. You can't just do that at this level. It's too hard.
I'm not saying it isn't, Sam, but what I'm saying is right now there are players, given what we've got available to us, that would be able, and don't forget, all these players play international football. So as much as we say it's too hard to come and do it for Liverpool, these players will have played other systems for other managers at other points in their career. They will be able to be molded into a different shape. The back line doesn't necessarily change. It just means there's a little bit more stability there.
Why is Fabinho?
Go on.
I was going to say, why is Fabinho? I think Fabinho drifts left a lot, and he drifts high and left. Why doesn't Fabinho today drift right all the time? Because he knows that's where the problems are going to be. He doesn't do that though. I naturally, as a defensive midfielder, he should be aware that all the attacks are going to come down that wing in the main, and Trent, Elliott, and Salah, as Mozart in a go-kart says here, are basically like having three right wingers. Why is the defensive midfielder not naturally slightly covering right? He's actually there for the second goal, but you're right. Neither of them track the run.
I'm gonna excuse Fabinho, even though I think he's dog shite this season, and I'm not gonna fucking defend Fabinho this season, but I'm gonna defend him in this instance, Sam, in terms of that is a coaching fucking problem. That is a manager and his assistant not seeing the tactical side of the game, Sam, right in front of their very eyes, that we're getting overloaded there. Elliott's not got the legs or the energy or the defensive nous because he's a kid and never played this 8 in a Jurgen Klopp gegenpressing midfield before. Mohamed Salah has been asked to put chalk on his boots, and you've got Trent, who's trying to create, as you guys have alluded to, trying to be the chief creator. Everyone is seeing this issue. Why isn't Klopp? I wouldn't even play 4-2-3-1, Errol. I think there's a case for fucking sometimes playing 4-4-2, 4-4-1-1, play Bobby and whatever, and play 4 across the midfield to protect the defense, protect the back line. If we stop the overloads, change it. Sam,
you can't do that.
See the thing, Sam, you're actually changing the formation.
We ain't playing no Burnley system. Bun that. Fuck that.
Right now,
4-2-3-1 doesn't need to be done like that. 4-4-1-1. Come on, boys. 4-2-3-1 I can accept.
What do you think a 4-2-4 is? What do you think a 4-2-4 is with wide wingers?
So you rather put in a performance? Wait, hold on.
That's basically the same. It's just
it's
if
not.
you're.
It's not. It's
in defence. In defence, a 4-2-4 is equivalent to 4-4-2 because your wingers have to come back.
But they don't defend that way, though. They never do. We play a much more frantic game.
Sam, you've got this thing about a formation needs to change and it needs to be like years to be embedded. Is that maybe just we're thinking that because we always stick with Klopp who does that? Because I've just seen Brighton play a 3-5-2, then a 4-2-3-1, then a 3-4-3.
Brighton also have a week off every week to practice the game.
So
I think it's a bit different.
Hold on. We've had a week in Marbella, right, and then played worse when we came back. But what I'm saying is, you're putting this focus that a 4-3-3 is the be all and end all, and you can't change.
You can't play 4-3-3. But what you can do is what Klopp has said he has done in the past. He's adjusted the 4-3-3. The 4-3-3 with Thiago is slightly different to the 4-3-3 with Gideon. I've agreed completely tonight, by the way, that we shouldn't be asking James Milner to go chasing down defenders and stuff for the ball. That's just stupid. But that's also on James Milner. James Milner knows what he can and can't do on a pitch. After the first time he goes diving in and realises this 22-year-old kid's too sharp for him.
That,
he should.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because he can't be. He's not. Are we saying James Milner should turn around to Jurgen Klopp? And maybe we are saying, I'm going to put this out there. Maybe we are saying that James Milner should turn around to Jurgen Klopp and say, "Yo, I can't do this anymore." You know, what are you telling me
on
to
the
do?
pitch. Just do it on the pitch. Just make your own mind up. Pick and choose your moments.
Sam, I'm going to come back to you now, Sam. If you're saying our formation and our way of playing is so drilled, because this is your words, that it's so finessed, it's so drilled, we can't really change it. We can change the personnel around it, but that system is so perfect. Not today, obviously, but overall you're saying it's perfect and you'd rather keep sticking to the principles, then we are saying James Milner to play like a number 8 in a Jurgen Klopp team. You're not saying go out there and play to your strengths. Do you get what I mean? You're not asking Milner to adapt on the pitch to play his own strengths. No, he's saying every day we train with the 2 8s with the similar roles, similar ways of playing, same patterns of play. We're really saying James Milner should turn around and say, Jurgen, I love you, and you know me, I'll play right back, left back, and go whatever. I can't do this gegenpressing 8 anymore because that's Jurgen's fault, Sam. We have to. The accountability for me, guys, has to stop with the coach, especially tonight.
But what I think you do is I think, like, for instance, I think a lot of this comes down to the way we play and with Trent. I think we've built our system around how we incorporate Trent, and it's bizarre because he does a role that most of the best player in their team does, but we does it from right back. So we have to try and build a system where we free him up. I think that's where it all comes from, by the way. It's built around, over the years, built around. I think that's why it's quite rigid in those say. But let's look at like this.
There used to be a harmony between the attack from the left-hand side and the attack from the right-hand side. But over the last 12 months, the left-hand side has become less potent, so for want of a better word. So there's been more heavily reliance on that right-hand side. But then we are overexerting and there's an over-reliance on Trent to be giving that forward ball and being the high line option or the high up option on the pitch, which then leaves a glaring hole that teams, mate, how many reams of fucking video footage can teams go back to and look at and say, when Trent's in that position, I need you to be there because when we get the ball, that's the space we're going to pass it into.
But I don't think you can.
Different teams can we look at and say, this is what we need to do? So if the other teams are looking at the video footage to say that, why aren't we looking back at our own footage to say, well, when Trent's up there, which of our 9 other players are going to come and cover that space? Is it Fabinho's responsibility? Do we have more of an onus on the right side of the 8 holding off on that space, like we used to see with Jordan Henderson 2 seasons ago? Is it going to be the right side of centre-back coming over? Do we need to change Virgil over to that right side to say, go get your confidence back and go boss that channel next to Trent and don't let no man pass you from now till the end of the season? What is it that we need to look at from that video perspective to say, when there's that hole and when there's all that acres of space available for other players to enter and utilise, who goes and plugs that gap? Because no one will take any ownership. I think the problem is not solved off the ball. The problem for me is solved on the ball. Like Pep Guardiola said it last year. He said Liverpool are the fastest, most direct team in the world, or that I've ever seen. And that's why when they're on point, you can't play against them. There's nothing you can do to stop Liverpool. When they remember that goal where I think it was the second goal of the 3-1 when we won the league, where Trent goes left foot ball out to Robbo, one touch, left foot pass into Salah, header goal, unbelievable, untouchable football. And I think that's what we aspire to do in a lot of situations. So what happens for me is that, and this is why I keep getting caught out cold this season, is there's a severe lack of quality in either the pass, and I don't even mean an overhit pass. I mean, Bobby tries to play a pass through 3 players, kicks at the first man, and then suddenly we're getting sprung
on the turnover.
We're really low quality stuff. Not Trent whipping the ball that goes out for a throw in, because you can reset from a throw. I'm talking about really poor passages of play, and we're getting caught, or the ball is getting played in, and it's getting spilled off someone's foot because they're shitting themselves in the box. It's happening too often. We losing the ball and we're playing two ridiculously tight or low percentage passes in part of the pitch where it doesn't matter how fast someone is or where someone's positioned. They make one pass and they're in behind our defence. And I think that's what the problem is. So our system really doesn't make too much of a difference, because if we change it anyway and we keep playing the shit passes, they're still going to keep playing balls over the top of our defence, their striker, because we're exposing ourselves because of our poor quality. Do you see where I'm coming from with it? Like, I'm just trying. I keep watching us lose the ball. I keep watching the telly when I'm watching the away games going, we're lacking quality. Just a bit of quality in the box. We're lacking quality. Oh.
Do you know what it is, Sam? I agree with you. We're lacking quality. And that's why I was surprised at your reaction to some of us, not all of us. Many agree with you as well. But that's why I was surprised with your reaction to me suggesting we should become more pragmatic until A, we get the more quality players back from fitness, and B, we have a bit more confidence in the players that are not so full of confidence and are resulting in poor quality passing and control possession to get back their confidence. There is no harm in having a patch of 2-3 games in a season in a long overall philosophy like Conroy alluded to. We're not asking us to change our philosophy. We're saying adaptability for 2-3 games. Bring back pragmatism. We would not have fucking cared. I don't know you. I think you're different maybe then. I wouldn't have given a shit if we shit house to 0-0.
Loved it.
Shit house to 0-0.
Differently, I would have loved it today.
But sometimes when you're a possession team, if you play counter-attack and you give a team who wants to counter you the ball, sometimes they're not sure what to do. So, like, you say pragmatic, but with the pace we've got on the break, I think like you could play a counter-attacking style for a bit that would be quite useful. I just think the blueprints, it's so obvious right now and nothing seems to be changing. And I think that's why we're all so frustrated tonight, because it's just so obvious. That's the frustration, lads. That's the frustration.
How do you change it though? Because
this is
why the top managers. This is why they're there.
But what I'm saying is, once you go back, is it then easy enough to just flip back through? I think, and also the ego of the coaching team.
Break it up for you, Sam. You've got a World Cup this year to break it all up. To say when we do need to go back, we go back after the World Cup and we go again. Start like it's a new season. Break the season down into 2 halves. Say right from now until the World Cup, we're just gonna dig in deep and we're gonna try.
What happens if that doesn't work?
As long as we can see. No, but from
this definitely ain't Sam.
So from a football conservative perspective, if we play more conservative football, do we concede as many goals? Given the quality that we've got, do we concede as many goals? No, is my take. So if we don't concede as many goals and we start to find a bit of a ruthless streak, we might score. We might start dogging games out and winning 1s and 2-0 here and there until we build our confidence. Before you know it, we get out the group stages and the World Cup's on us. Then when Klopp's got a lot of his players still here anyway to work on their confidence, work on the psychological things, touch wood, the players in the World Cup don't get injured and everyone comes back fit. You can say, right, lads, we're going again. This is what we need to do now to go through the rest of the season. But I want to bring back the football that we've built our roots on. Like, it's not hard.
I don't think it's that simple, to be honest.
But right,
I think it's far too hard to do that from where we are.
We're overcomplicating it right now, though, lad. Where we are overcomplicating it. We just need to break it down a little bit and just go back to basics, bro. Because this level of football where every single player's got this very specific role, as soon as one of them is just not on it to like the top Fs of where they need to be, the whole thing falls apart, bro.
But what did we do in 2021, sorry?
Just a very quick one. Philippe H is a Newcastle fan, resident Newcastle fan in the chat as well. Klopp is on thin ice. Needs to change something. Clearly not working. LFC are a joke now. Ancelotti post the USL finals called you lot predictable. Yikes. Look, he's obviously going mad. He's obviously, filling his boots with the Klopp is on thin ice. But he's not the only one. I mean, Ancelotti, he's not the only one who has called us predictable in terms of our patterns, in terms of how to play against us. We are everything, Sam, that you have said and I've said in the past. And Conroy and Enru, we were the worst team to play against. We are now the easiest team to play against. How do we go forward, Conroy, in changing this perception that other players have of us now? A lot of those incidents, you're right. They were attacking our centre-backs like there is no fucking aura about these lot. How do we go about changing this now then?
I think you need to show your coaching and management and your actual tactical nous here. I think if we play that way, was it Wolves at the weekend, you might get away with it. Wolves, they might not hit us as well as say like a Palace did. So you may get away from that. But right now, guys, I've got zero confidence because we're acting like, yeah, I take your point, Sam, about the Merseyside derby. That's always a tough game. But in my head, that's another game we've not won. And the teams around us are playing well right now. And I can't suddenly see them getting out of form. And we're a team who's not beat a top 4 team in the last year anyway. Not lost, but we've not won. And we need to win to get us to make up for the points we've dropped. If you're looking at some stuff to do, I agree with Sam. I can't see him changing tactically. Formation-wise. I've never really been up for a back three, but I've got to be honest, the last couple of games have made me consider it just to give us to try to allow Trent more protection. I know you said Henderson done it in the midfield, Sam and Errol, but I'd maybe look something a back three to support him a bit right now and allow to get his confidence up a bit. Or you'd say maybe take him out. I'm just thinking alternatives we could look at. But if you want to just stick with the 4-2-3-1 or whatever, 4-2-4, and maybe have a more conservative way so we could break on teams, I'd maybe look at trying something like that, Grizz, because see this high line right now, it's like going in a sweet, what is it, taking candy from a baby for some teams now. It's so easy.
That's what it is.
It's so easy. Like, see, tonight I don't think we're going, tonight was the worst because you could see it in the first minute. And how many games is in a game of football? 90 minutes. And we just said, no, it'll be fine. We'll keep doing that. And let's be honest, I think by the 70th minute, they took half their players off Napoli. So let's put that in perspective as well. They took who did they take off? Lozano came on for the guy who they call, was it Maradona? The
Mexican Maradona?
Yeah. No, who's the guy? Is the guy who scored who set up the third goal?
The Georgian Messi.
Yeah, that guy. He's one of the best players taken off at 70 minutes. So that shows you how much they feared us. Team who got to the Champions League final last year. If they took their best players off at 70 minutes, they must have been petrified of us coming back. Not. So there's lots of problems. I'd look at just taking them back 10 yards, stop the high line for a bit. My God, he's not going to do that. But that's what I'd probably look to do. But it's not going to happen.
But go on. I was going to say at elite level. At elite level, sorry, I'm only going to say this very quickly. I think at elite level sports, no matter what sport you're in, the take that a lot of the sort of suggestions that I've made with the system, and you guys have made with the system, is that it's not about going backwards. It's about being better, and I think that's what Klopp will do, and Peplins will do. It's like, look, this is not good enough. That you're all not good enough for this particular roles. You need to be better. This is how you're going to be better, and I'm going to give you a fellow called Thiago Alcantara to help you better. I think that's what we'll do, is we'll try and be better rather than change what we're doing.
And my only other take from a lot of the last couple of weeks more than anything else is one of the only good things that will come out of this is Liverpool's recruitment team tend to only look to buy the right players that play well against us. Well, let me tell you right now, for the first time in a long time, there is a very long shortlist. The shortlist has become a long list because bare teams have been playing good against us lately. So we can literally just cherry pick whichever players we want next summer because there is no shortage of quality that has been doing us dirty over the last couple of weeks.
Guys, we got to wrap it up. This has been, it's not even been therapeutic because we're still as mad as we were at the start. I'd like to thank you guys for joining in. I'd like to thank everyone in the chat for joining in. Of course, many here to take the piss, but it is what it is. We've got to take the glory. We've got to take the lows. We've got to keep going. We don't just stop. We just don't fold up the club and give up our support. We've got to keep going. Wolves next, people. I'm contemplating doing the rating show. I'm going to decide in the next 15 minutes or so. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, yourfutcard.com. Go and use the code RedFellas for 15% off all your custom-made banners that you want made. FSG out, Klopp out, Nunez out, Salah out, or whatever you want to get made. Glazers out. Don't forget to put in 15% and you get, put in RedFellas and you get 50% off. This has been a magnificent effort from you guys. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Conroy. Thank you, Errol. We out of here, people. Take care. Upwards, I guess, is the only way we know.